Estado de Zacatecas, como te recuerdo por donde yo voy.
Hi guys, welcome back to Chingonas Talk About. This is your girl Diana.
And this is your girl Cynthia.
Guys, we have a very special episode for you guys today. We're very, very excited. I'm a little nervous. But we will have someone on the call. And I'm very excited to share that person with you guys.
Put him on the call.
Put him on the call.
Woo-woo. We haven't had a caller. Like we've been like randomly calling people, but unplanned.
Yeah, this is very unplanned.
No. Unplanned, we've been calling.
Oh, no,
this
yeah.
Is planned.
Oh, this is planned. This is definitely planned. I think that's why I'm nervous, because it's planned.
We don't fuck with plans?
No. Las cosas no más pasan. But this one, I made sure like I'm close. Last time my mic was like super low. Nobody fucking said anything.
Yeah.
You can hear yourself, but I was just like, damn, you can't hear me whole time. But right now I'm like right here. You see me, you hear me.
You see me, you hear me. Yeah.
But this whole episode is dedicated to this person being on the call. So I'm very, very excited. So we wanted to go ahead and get started before this person pops up on the call.
Ooh, fancy Nancy.
But hermana, how are you?
Good, how are you? A brand new week.
It's a brand new week, sister. Are you excited or what?
Yeah.
How's I haven't seen you in like how long?
A week?
For real? It's been like that?
Yeah.
Oh damn. I haven't seen you in a week. Why does it feel like longer?
I don't know.
Damn.
I saw you Saturday.
I did? You did? Damn, bro. I gotta think about it.
Didn't you come to my house Saturday?
I did?
I believe so.
I don't fucking remember. Dude, it's been a long ass week and shit.
I don't know. Maybe it has been a week. I don't know.
For sure, this week we are celebrating, before we get started, Ariana's birthday.
Yes, happy birthday to my baby girl, 7 years old.
Shout out to Ariana. Ariana, I love you so much as your madrina and your tia. Favorite. I asked her what she wants for her birthday, and she said like robotic something.
Roblox.
I was like, yeah, how much is it? She's like, I don't know, like 100. And I was like, oh, okay.
Damn.
She told me that. She's like,
I'm telling you, people take advantage of you, bro.
Low-key, I've been thinking about that because I babysat my nephew the other day too, and he was just like, what time are you leaving? And I'm like, oh. Shout out to Liam. Liam was very interested to how I was editing in his house, and he was very interested how we put it on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
I know. He's like a future little director.
Yeah.
Whole time. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I can fucking hear myself now. I'm so like...
Es que tú quieres vivir acá, mami.
Sí,
tú quieres vivir acá.
No, ¿sabes qué? Que quiero acomodar esta madre bien, and like ahorita ya me puedo ir a like, aleluya. You know?
Madrecita.
Los coros de la iglesia.
Yeah.
You know, like Loki who loves like coros de la iglesia? Your dad.
Oh, I was like, your mom.
Your dad. Mom. My dad loves like La Guadalupana and stuff like that.
Like, he's silly, that's why.
I love how we just start with one thing and like end up with like the randomest thing ever.
Es lo que es, mami.
I know, like es lo que es. Es lo que es. Oh my God, timer. Today's hot as hell. Like you're not in your basement, but like outside of your basement.
Yeah, it's not hot here. I'm cold.
Your basement is always so cold. I know. Everything okay at work? What? You still working there?
Yeah, I'm still working. I walked in right now.
I know. Like I was like,
I still got my work. I just changed my attire. I even forgot to take off my my name tag.
Name tag and shit. Put it on so people know who you are.
Yeah.
I am dead.
Hola, mi nombre es Cynthia.
So how's the bank life?
I love it.
Yeah?
Fucking love it.
Do you have like a favorite customer now or what?
I have a few favorite customers.
A few?
Yeah.
What you mean, girl?
Yeah, a few of my customers. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Nah. Edit that part.
The foo
here.
Last time it was so simple because I was just like, oh,
I'm sorry.
I just blended it in.
I apologize.
Thank you guys for like the new supporters. I saw that we finally hit 300 subscribers.
Ooh, yeah.
But you guys been playing with our feelings because it goes up and goes down. I'm like, but thank you.
And thanks for the support. I got a lot of people supporting me.
On Cynthia's last episode.
Yeah.
I'm dead.
That's funny because it's like, oh damn, like, okay.
Yeah.
There's a crew. Somos una unión.
I was like, everyone was like, oh my God, Cynthia just finally confessed. If you haven't seen the confession,
you're missing out.
You better go check out the last video. Cause Cynthia was like, fire up. You should do like a
Un suspiro.
You should do a fire up tour.
I should.
She said,
a fire up tour. Let's get at least 2 people together.
Cynthia smokes.
Let's match.
For real. So Cynthia smokes tour and shit.
Y alguien que traiga los munchies.
Someone asked, like, are we gonna see Cynthia in the next episode, like, doing the confession? And I was like, I don't know about that.
No.
That's bold, bro.
No,
Some compas, some puros compas shit.
yeah, no, that's restricted to after 9 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah. It's fuera de business hours.
Bro.
Yeah. He only with my husband.
I know. The other day you sent me a picture and like I was literally getting out of church and I was like, oh my God, thank God I pray for everybody. Like my friends and my family, including my prayers. And my sister sent me a picture like of her and my cuñado like living their best lives. I was like, oh my God.
Wait, yesterday or the other day?
Yesterday, mami, miércoles.
Mami, yesterday no era una fire up picture.
¿Qué era? Oh, mami. Pero sí,
Chingonas After Dark.
It was a Chingonas After Dark comment. And I was like, oh my God. Like, not a comment, a video. And I was like, oh my God, sister. This is very, like, unique.
Outspoken or what? Like, outgoing?
Unique.
Outgoing.
Yeah, so I pray for everybody on Wednesdays.
I just went through my list and I picked a couple girls and I
Sister, we haven't gone to the Cecil church, so I have to go during the week.
Why are you talking about church after when I'm
Because
talking about Chingonas After Dark?
Porque Dios ve todo, so
Obvio.
Tiene que haber un balance en la vida.
Soy una señora felizmente casada.
Yeah, that's true. Show the man. Damn.
He put a ring on it.
What's your anniversary this year? What number? 8?
8.
Oh, yo dice que ya 10, un upgrade, okay.
No.
Get us upgrade?
I would never. This is what I promised my husband.
Oh.
I've promised to love and honor my husband with this.
Really? You wouldn't get an upgrade?
I don't think so.
Damn.
These mean a lot to me.
You really love him, huh? Just kidding.
You're not in for the wealth, huh?
Like, okay, Mary, let me see the ring. Oh, all right.
Let's change this rock for a real one.
Do you know the estimate of how much you're supposed to spend on a wedding ring or engagement ring?
There's an estimate?
There's like an article about that and like a statistics. Yeah, about it. You're supposed to spend at least 3 checks. But I mean, at least 2 checks that make a estimate at least 5,000 on your ring. Say, oh, I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, one of my best friends is getting married, and her ring is beautiful.
Wait, who's getting married?
Handra.
Oh, right.
Handra, you see this, bro? Like, bro, don't invite her to your wedding.
This bitch said one of my best friends, like, yeah, because she has a north side crew, she has a west side crew, she has a south side crew.
My north side best friends.
She has a crew from northeastern, she has a crew from northwestern, she's all over the place.
Popular. No, I'm just kidding. No, es que soy bien amigable.
¿Qué es qué? También, a ver, enseña tu blacklist. Stupid.
Oh my God, we haven't talked.
How is that going for you?
I haven't blocked people, dude. Oh, wait. No, I haven't blocked people. I just deleted people. Especially on Facebook, because there be some creeps. And then I don't like add anybody, like just anybody on my personal page. On Chingonas, go ahead. Y'all want to be nosy? Go ahead. Go, do your thing. But no, on I haven't blocked anyone.
Oh, good for you.
I've listened to you. Have you blocked anybody?
I have not. I don't block people.
I mean, but just like blocked.
No, I don't block people.
Is blocking still like a thing? Should we make an episode about blocking?
Yeah.
Are you still blocking people? Comment below.
Yeah.
They block us and shit.
I'll block you bitches.
I wonder if people have blocked us.
For why?
I don't know. People be hating, bro.
That's not cool.
No, but like people be like, ay, las chingonas enfados. I was like,
Like you could easily unfollow.
Pues sí, pero pues la plebada.
Dramáticos, right?
Yeah. Like, ay, ¿cómo enfadan las pinches viejas de las chingonas? Black. Guys, this is a very hot ass day in Chicago, and I was like on my way here, and I was like rushing to get to Cynthia's house because there's so much traffic after school. We're literally recording during the weekday because we have Ariana's birthday this weekend, and then we have sister. Where did you invite me to? Where did you invite me to on Sunday?
We have una comida de agradecimiento para los que participamos en el certamen Miss Chiquitita Zacatecas.
Woo!
That's where we were yesterday.
Yeah. You guys went there yesterday?
Estúpida, este va a salir Monday, ¿no?
Sí, estúpida. Oh, estúpida. Y estúpida yo.
Obvio.
Es que estamos en el futuro, estamos en el presente y hermana, ya no sé.
Te bloqueas, haces así como
fucking Back to the Future and shit.
La bala fría. Boom, boom.
La bala fea for real. But yeah, so I'm excited because am I your plus one? Did you invite your husband or am I only the?
Yeah, I invited my husband.
Wait, so how many people can go?
It's my family's going and you.
How many your family? Ah, you heard that?
You're stupid. Like
Hey, bro,
my inside family.
Me like.
Me abandonaste
Me
por ser
abandonas.
pobre.
Yeah, like you, like my family and you.
Yeah.
Güey, ¿yo qué soy, güey? O sea.
Es la
Hello.
madrina. La madrina. La porra.
Yeah, I am la porra. People get awards for that or what?
Whole time. That's what we're going for, stupid ass.
That's the whole thing they're gonna do. But yeah, guys. So we are just waiting for our special guest to be on the call. Here we have our awesome, very excited to have her on the call. Dice mi hermana que me está medio nerviosa.
Yeah.
Girl, I was so excited right now. I'm like, oh my God, she's calling. Gabby, please, thank you so much for joining Chingonas. I'm so excited to have you on the call. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Gabriela M.C. You guys can call me Gabby. I do a little bit of everything, so it's always hard for me to answer that question, but I'm a social worker, business owner, and content creator, to put it in a very general sense. Pero a todo le entro, and I'm glad that you guys have me on here, and I'm very excited to go and do this episode with the both of you. So congratulations on your podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for calling. I know you were very busy.
Girl, you're busy as hell.
Girl, I joined the social media influencer type of thing world y no me salió. I was like, TikTok is fine. Don't send me a check. I'm good.
That's funny. It is a lot of work. I think people have the impression that it's like cualquier cosa, especially like my parents.
Yeah.
But they always see me doing stuff, and then my mom will be like the first one to be like, ay, ¿para qué estás grabando? And then if I upload something, she'll be like, a ver cuánta gente lo miró y qué están diciendo. I'm like, no, que no quería, you know?
Yeah.
So
I am dead.
it just takes some time, but now they get it, you know?
Well, you're doing great. Nos pusimos a hacer la tarea. Like Diana started talking to me and she's like, oh, we should have Gabby on the call. And I'm like, ay, Gabby no te va a contestar.
Low key, yeah.
So then, so she's like, okay, we'll start looking at her TikToks. And I'm like, you have come up in my story, but like I never put two and two together. Hasta que Diana estaba like we curse a lot here. But estaba chingue, like, look at her TikToks. And I was like, okay, like, I don't know si me estaba tirando pedradas. Like, she was sending me the ones that, like, I come for her. And she's like, I was like, I don't know if that's what you're trying to do, but it's working. So finally, I started following you. And then just recently, I started, I followed you on Instagram because Diana was like, and she's never like this. That's why I'm telling you, okay, like, she was like super like nervous. She's like, do your homework. And it's like, our podcast is very like spontaneous. We don't prepare in advance. It's just like, we always promote that it's a plática entre hermanas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, so when she was doing like, she's like, do your homework and look at her videos and what are you going to ask her? And like write down what you're going to ask her. And I'm like, no, esta cosa ya está bien seria. Like, damn, I don't know. Like, do I get PTO for this job too? Or what's going on?
Dead. When I first found you on TikTok and I'm like, oh my God, like, first of all, like, we're like paisanas. We're very hardcore, like,
Zacatecanas.
Zacatequillas and shit over here.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, she's from Zacatecas. And like, I feel like right now, a lot of like Zacatecas people are coming up. I mean, pero anoche for sure. So they're bringing.
They're from Zacatecas too?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah,
Yo
they
toda
are.
perdida, norteada.
Girl, and it's in California. Y nosotros estamos en Chicago. So I'm like, we see like, you know, the hype that they're getting, you know, in Chicago. Pero obvio lo que es like Texas in California, like se ve más like la paisanada, I guess, over there. So I'm like, oh my God, like Gabby's from Zacatecas. And you're from Jalisco too, right?
Yes, my dad's from Jalisco and my mom's from Zacatecas. I'm actually leaving to Zacatecas on Saturday.
Oh my God, girl.
That's cool.
Girl, you going to a wedding or what?
¿Vas a ir a las pitayas or what?
For real.
Yes. No, I haven't had like an actual long vacation. It's a week, so it's long for me, right? But I haven't had one since 2018. Por lo del negocio, pues el cafe, I always thought that I had to be here in Bellflower just in case something happened. And thankfully, I'm getting to the point where I think I can take a 1 week break. So this is the first time in 4 years. So I'm looking forward to it.
You're from Mochitlan, right?
Thank you. ¿Mande?
Mochitlan?
No, she's from Zacatecas.
No, ves, esta te buscó en Wikipedia. No sé dónde te buscó.
I just like, I'm like so proud. And I'm like literally a girl fan right now because I'm a girl fan.
Yeah.
Because I'm just so excited that, you know, like, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people right now, like, you know, they're coming up and it's like they're finally repping like where we're from. I just feel like I don't know, like, you know, we're being known now and it's like shit, like we're out here doing big things.
Yeah, and that is a proud moment. Yeah, and then everything that you bring out is just a lot of positivity, a lot of supporting like small local business, which is what we've always been about. So it's really cool to have you on. Did you want to talk a little bit about how you started your business or like social media helped you, or what is it that you want to talk about first?
So for me, I started when I was finishing my master's program of social work. So I got pregnant really young. I was 19 years old, pero ya había terminado my bachelor's degree at UCLA.
Woo!
And so it was like, oh my God, we're so proud of you to like, ay, la cagaste, you got pregnant, you know? Like from one day to the next, literally. So it was hard because I grew up being very like concerned with what, you know, my parents thought about me. But siempre creo que nos crearon así mis papás, like, oh, don't, because, you know, your tías are going to say this or your grandma's going to say that. Like, it was always like, be worried about what people think about you. And like, that's just how I was raised. And for me, I always wanted to be the best, like in school. And I always did it to, you know, make my parents proud, specifically my dad. But I went on and pursued, like I've over-focused on school. And so that's where all my energy went. Pero cuando so I was like, who goes to UCLA and graduates at 19 and stops there? So I decided to go back to school mostly because of ego reasons, you know, like you can't be a chingona and then just stop, you know?
Period.
So I went back, toda yo chingona con tu niño, right? My son was 3 years old. He had just turned 3 when I started my master's program. Y ándale que salgo panzona otra vez. Halfway through the program.
El remate.
Yes, pero para ese entonces ya me había casado por la iglesia, because, you know, my mom wasn't counting the Vegas one. She was like, no, hasta que no te cases por la iglesia cuenta. And so I actually got married in Zacatecas.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
your husband is from Nochislan?
So his mom and my mom grew up together.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
That's cute.
Yeah, I'm like, si lo hubieran planeado, no le sale. But yeah, there's some over there. And so it was easy for us to get married porque ya estaba casi, like, la gente va para allá anyways, you know?
Yeah.
Pero sí, o sea, I graduated from USC with my master's, and that's when I started, like, listening to podcasts and, like, thinking outside the box. Y me di cuenta que la gente me miraba a mí como like, oh, Gabby, how did you do this? Or where did you get that? And like, I realized I had a personal brand, right? Like, la gente me tenía confianza because they felt like whatever I got, I did my research on. Yeah. Like, that was always how people saw me growing up too. Like, siempre me venían a pedir ayuda a mis primos para la tarea and stuff like that. So I quickly understood like how I influenced other people in that sense. Like, I wasn't even thinking social media like influencer, like how we understand it today. Yeah. It was more like I actually do help people, you know, and me being a social worker, I was trained in that. Aparte de que naturally I'm someone that likes to help. So when I started listening to podcasts, me entró una llamada. I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk, who's like very known in like the business world. Pero yo siempre decía, like, I mean, I get what he's saying, but it's different when you're a girl. It's different when you're Mexican. It's different when you were raised by Catholic parents. So like all these things dependían, right, de tu circunstancia. So then I was like, well, why don't I start a podcast just to share like what it's like for us, you know, and whoever understands or whoever relates, pues que bueno, right, que les llegó. Y los que no, pues que Dios los bendiga.
Yeah.
So that's just how I started. I Googled like how to start a podcast, and this is in 2017, summer of 2017. So no había tanta gente haciéndolo, and there wasn't like a lot of content out there, so I had to do a lot of Google searching. Pero I started it, and then someone asked me like, hey, can you make a podcast on your experience at UCLA? And I was like, ooh, that's going to be a long-ass podcast. Y pues ahí fue donde empecé a escribir mi libro, because I've always been a very good writer, like, porque me gusta, like, comunicarme con la gente de esa manera.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me just try writing this out, because it was a lot. I was trying to write it so that I can know what to talk about on the podcast. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, I had like a whole chapter done. And so I just gave it to a couple people, my husband being one of them. He's like, dude, this is good. Like, what happens after? I was like, what do you mean?
Y ya lo dejaste todo picado, and he wanted to know the second chapter.
Yeah, so ahí, mientras estaba haciendo las episodes del podcast, I was writing the book on the side. And at this point, my daughter was like a newborn. So cuando ella se dormía for her naps, I would write the book. And eventually I went back and started working in social work while I was still writing the book. And so my husband was like, oh, when you graduate, like, promise me that all you're going to do is just social work. And I was like, uh-huh.
Yeah. Le hacías changuitos atrás, right? You're like, yeah, I promise, con los changuitos atrás de la mano.
Uh-huh. And so, el 2018, o sea, empecé a escribir el libro fall of 2017. And I published it before my birthday. So instead of having a regular birthday party, I had a book launch party. Le dije a la gente, please don't bring a gift. Buy my book instead and go give it to someone else.
Oh, that's
and so, yeah, that's what I did. And that night, pues, lo que me costó publicar el libro fue like $1,200. I made the money back that night. So it wasn't ever about the money for me, porque I wasn't looking to necessarily like vivir de eso, you know? Mm-hmm. My thing was like, I want this book to be in high school so that if there was another Gabby out there that wished that she would have known what it was like for someone that was like her, that she could just pick up a book and read it, you know?
Wow, that's so badass. Congrats on that.
I love that about you. I feel like that's what cuando me like te vi en TikTok and me agarró mucho la atención. Like, it's just like, I don't know, you're very like, I want to help, and like this is how you do it. You have like a million things going on, girl. I don't know how you do it, but that's like chingona as fuck. And I was like, I need to have her on Chingonas talk about it. Like, this is a bad bitch. Sorry, we do person here. But I was like, okay, you're basically a social worker. You're an empresaria. You're an author. You also do your podcast, and then like, and you're a mom, like
a wife, a daughter, a sister.
Like shit, girl, like. And then you still have time to make TikToks, and yo estoy embobada, like, she wants me to think positive. What would Gabby say? So I'm just like, okay, dice Gabby que do this and do that. So like, how do you literally like I
balance yourself?
Balance. The other day I saw that she slept like a good 10 hours. Girl, I saw that. So how do you balance it all?
So whenever I do like public speaking events, que es un chingo de gente, right? Or it's like really high emotions, it always takes me like 2 to 3 days to recover. Okay. Believe it or not. Porque es una energía que no me toca vivirla tan seguido, right? It's like if I was performing a concert or something. Like, that's how it feels in terms of energy, porque I'm connecting with people, that the energy is high, like emotions are running high, and it's a really beautiful feel. Like, that's where I find my bliss, and that's where I'm like super joyful. Pero también you can't be doing that every day or you're gonna like literally die, because it's just so much energy. You need downtime. And so like a life hack that I like to share with people, and I shared on my Empresaria Society page, is if you get your period, if you're a girl and you get your period, you plan your activities according to your menstrual cycle. Yes. Because your menstrual cycle dictates your energy levels based on your hormones. So si notan ustedes, you're going to see a pattern on how I post. Hay unas semanas que estoy en chinga posting on TikTok, on Instagram, fucking performing for 1,000 people on my stories every day. Yes. Pero hay otras semanas donde están más mellow. I'm doing more like written context, like Instagram posts with words and stuff like that. So I vary my content depending on the amount of energy that I have based on my menstrual cycle. Pero esto es algo que yo no me di cuenta hasta maybe the past year. Porque antes de eso, I would have days where I would feel so unmotivated and I'd be like, oh, maybe I'm just doing the wrong thing. And it's like, no, bitch, maybe it's just your period. Maybe it's just your menstrual cycle. You know, like we get so in our head. And I mean, coming from someone that was diagnosed with general anxiety disorder when I was 17, like I've been working with my anxiety for years now. So I figured it out, but it takes literally stopping and paying attention to yourself. Y yo siempre le digo a la gente, if you see me winning in one area of life, you have to know that en otra área estoy valiendo madre.
Yeah.
And
Un balance.
So I tell them, like, you want to know where I'm failing? Come and look at my laundry. Like, I will show you any day. And I'm transparent like that porque la gente dice, like, how do you have it all together? The truth is that I don't.
Yeah.
And nobody does. And if they tell you they do, they're lying.
Yeah,
Like,
that's for sure.
So you're definitely,
Yeah.
you talk a lot about like just shifting your mind to like positive affirmations every day. So what's something you tell yourself in the morning so like you can get it together and be like, okay, fuck, I have all this shit to do. Like,
How does Gabby start her day?
Yeah, how does Gabby start her day?
Ooh, so Gabby starts her day by going to sleep with meditations that reprogram her subconscious. And I don't know if I'm going to scare you away with that or intrigue you.
You're intriguing me, girl. Yes.
Yeah, so I used to wake up and my mind would start racing right away. Like, it was getting to the point where I would get up and I'd be singing like a song already in my head. I'm like, what the hell, Gabby? You just woke up. Like
Jenny Rivera and shit.
Yeah, like, dude, chill. Like, es que por eso le dice a la gente, le digo a la gente siempre, like, you don't want to live in my head. You would want it out. You would want out, like, in 2 seconds.
I'm dead.
Porque es de que tengo like 30 tabs open, you know, and that does come from, you know, having anxiety and like growing up with trauma and things like that. So I understand que estoy loca. So, you know, I know where it comes from. So
you got receipts, girl.
Yeah. So I've been addressing that for a while now there's different sleep meditations that you can do depending on what you're trying to address. But like if you want one to like release negative energy or if you want one to attract good things into your life, like you could literally type it in like meditation 4 and then the keyword and then it'll pop up on YouTube. And what you're doing is that you're reprogramming your subconscious mind while you're asleep. And I always tell people if you're looking to do self-development or just improve your life in general, the first thing you should do is do it while you're asleep because you're literally not going to be doing anything other than sleeping. So might as well be hitting your subconscious, you know?
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you start believing in yourself and you're like, how the hell is this happening? Because we're reprogramming you, you know? And that just comes from years of, right, me figuring out what works for me and what doesn't. And so what I figured out, la fórmula que yo tengo para mi vida is basically, all right, I get an idea, I get an inspiration, I want to do something, right? I go out and do it. I document my process while I'm doing it. Then I figure out, okay, what about this that I'm doing are people not talking about because they're afraid to admit X, Y, and Z. Then I go and I share that with people, right? And I expose the vulnerability. Like, this is the hard part of, for example, being a business owner. This is the hard part about being a social worker, about being a mom, about whatever, right? And that's how I build community, by creating space for others to be like, oh my gosh, me too. Oh my gosh, I'm not alone.
Yeah, I relate
right?
to that type of thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so then that's how I've created my community over the years, and I now see it growing because now it's like mainstream to talk about stuff like that. Now it's mainstream to be proud that you're Mexican, right?
Yeah.
Now it's trending, but it hasn't been for years, right? And I remember at a point when I was at UCLA, people were like, oh my God, you're paisa? Like, you listen to that? And I'm like, a huevo? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
What?
You know? And aparte de todo, when I was my last year at UCLA, at the same time I was running for Señorita Zacatecas.
I'm
Los Angeles.
dead.
Oh, wow.
Cynthia,
And so, like,
Cynthia
you
has a
can't
story
get
for
more
you.
paisa than that, you know?
That I put my daughter in a pageant. She was runner up for Miss Chiquitita Zacatecas.
In Illinois, yeah.
In
Oh my
Illinois.
God, how cute.
Yeah, and it's just
Well,
like
yeah.
my daughter. I raised 3 no sabo kids, and it's like, how do I tell like the judges and everything that my daughter no habla español, you know, and I'm here, you know, fulfilling my dreams of being Señorita Zacatecas in Illinois from with my daughter I met. Yeah, but it was just like, it was a really a good experience. And y que te platico que en octubre van a ver señoras Zacatecas and I might be on there.
Acá en Chicago, ¿te vienes, Gabby? Let's go.
Necesito porra, Gabby.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'll be rooting for you.
No, that's cool. So like you for sure are the definition of chingona.
Yeah.
Because it's
Thank you.
like you're trying to prove yourself wrong, not anybody else. You're like, okay, this is what I'm struggling with, but here te voy a aventar 20 because I could do it and I could top it. That's cool. That's badass.
Cualquier.
Sorry, go ahead.
And well, algo que es importante to keep in mind is like, the more that you accept that whatever you're doing is not for other people, the easier it gets.
Yeah.
And
you know what? I think that's we talked about that like a couple of episodes ago, that I stopped explaining myself to people. It's just, to me, it was always something that I had to validate with people. It's like, oh, no voy a ir a tu fiesta de cumpleaños porque esto y esto y esto está pasando. And it's like, no, I don't have to give you an explanation. No voy a ir. Y yeah, that's it. Because it's like you're being put on the spot, and then like if you really genuinely didn't feel like going to, let's say, that birthday party, and then you let the person know, oh, no voy a ir porque whatever, se me descompuso el carro, and they're like, oh, I'll pick you up, and then, you know, like you end up feeling guilty for not wanting to do whatever you honestly didn't want to do. So
exactly.
I told Diana, I was like, you know what, like we shouldn't explain ourselves. Just be content with yourself. Make sure that you are putting yourself first. And anybody's emotions, you know, like come second place, because it's like you need to be good with yourself, and you need to make sure that, you know, your state of mind, your mental health and everything is okay. Aside from having to please people, that's not, you know, your main focus.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with other people's main characters. You just want to focus on yours.
I mean, como decía mi hermana acerca de like just stop like explaining stuff to people. How you mentioned that your parents didn't really know about, sorry, in your TikToks you mentioned that your parents didn't really know about why you were going to school. I know you majored in sociology and then social work. Can you elaborate more like how your parents took that, or like ¿qué estás haciendo? ¿Qué significa eso?
Yeah, my parents were like, ¿y eso con qué se come? O sea, but I mean, I feel like that's every parent. Like, they don't really know what their kids are doing in general. Like, my parents still think that I just go and talk to people que nada más voy a chismear. But, like, I have to educate them, you know? And I think that goes for a lot of us. We don't really understand tampoco their point of view. So it was a challenge, not only for them, but for me too, because imagínate, pues ellos mandándonos a la escuela, right? Sin tener any sense of direction. And then once we're there, we have to figure it out and explain it to them and to ourselves. Like, okay, what am I going to do with the sociology degree? I don't know either. And they're asking me the same question, right?
Yeah.
But the way that I saw it back then, it was like there wasn't that much that I could have done based on the mentality I had.
Okay.
Ahorita, si tú me dices I'm studying sociology, I'm like, oh, girl, here are like 30,000 things that you can do.
Yeah.
Like,
so you think...
Pero
sorry, go ahead.
It has to be combined with entrepreneurship. Gotcha. And I think, yo no lo digo porque pienso que el entrepreneurship is like high status or only like privileged people get to do this. You know, like I really think that in general, we shouldn't be so vulnerable as to just have one source of income. That's what it comes down to for me. And I've seen that I'm more free as a social worker. Like, I'm actually a better social worker because I don't depend solely on that job to survive.
¿Quién es más como like, because I mean I work at a high school, so I work in special education, so I work with the social workers at school, and it's just there's a lot of crisis, you know, with teenagers right now. So you can get burned out real quick, just running around doing a bunch of things, and if that's your only income, you're like shit. Like, well, I have to tomorrow wake up and do like 50 reports, and I have to do this. So I feel like it's a good balance because te vas más como not tranquila, pero yeah, like you're not like, oh my God, like stressing over the fact that this is the only income you're bringing into your household.
Exactly. And I also noticed too que cuando you have other sources of income, you have the liberty of moving around better. The job that I have right now, my 9 to 5, as people like to understand it, I was previously in another county, right? I was in Orange County, and I noticed that there, o sea, no había suficiente trabajo to keep all the social workers busy. So then I went to my boss and I was like, hey, I noticed that, there's not a lot of work. Just wanted to let you know that I'll be working less. That way other people can have an opportunity to work their 40 hours, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't know that the other county from misma compañía, different county, was short on social workers. So because I went and told them like, hey, I know things are slow right now, so I'm going to work a little bit less. When the other county called them to ask if social workers were available to work, the first person they thought of was me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
You get me? So I put myself on the radar by being like, hey, I know what's happening. Just FYI, like I'm here to, support. And like because of that, I'll be working less so that the other social workers can also have, their hours.
Yeah.
And then they asked me that I was the first person they asked if I wanted to transfer, and I said sure. So I moved to a county that was closer to home. I can pick up and drop off my son at school on time for his school. Like I didn't have to worry about that anymore. And my patients were closer to home, and I got full-time work.
Oh,
and
wow.
just yesterday, I gave myself a raise.
Oh.
Period. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, hay que saber manejarnos a nosotras mismas, because a lot of the times people wait till the raise conversation comes up. And I literally drafted up my letter and I was like, all right, homies, I've been with you guys. Porque they brought me over from the other county, right? Mm-hmm. So I didn't get an annual review because I just transferred.
Yeah.
So I told them like, hey, I got approached by another company. They're offering me, this rate, and like I wanted first an opportunity to increase my wages with you guys before I considered taking on additional work. And they were like, oh, okay, Gabby, thank you so much. I'm going to talk to whomever. And then they called me back and they're like, okay, we got you to $4 more per hour. Is that okay? And I'm like, sure, I'll take it.
Oh, wow.
Pero, o sea, you have to know your leverage, and you can't be afraid of stating like what you're bringing to the table. But it helps that I'm not just depending on this job, porque no me da vergüenza, no me da timidez,
Yeah, te abres más puertas.
Exactly, and it's just, it ends up being your energy. Si tú llegas arrastrando las patas.
Con la cola entre las patas, yeah.
Yeah, a pedir ese raise, they're not going to give you as much as you portrayed,
Yeah, so, you have to show you're confident, you know your worth y todo.
You talk a lot about manifesting. Is this part of your manifestation?
Absolutely, yes. I'm on the phone, Gabriel. Sorry, my son came in and he wants to play the piano.
Oh, you're fine.
I'll be done soon, okay? Nice haircut, by the way. Yes, I do a lot of visualization and visualization exercises, pero mira, es que ahorita está muy popular el término manifesting, right?
Uh-huh.
Other people call it praying. Other people call it talking to God. Like, it's just different for everyone. Pero para mí, it's knowing yourself enough para decir, oh, this vision that I have, this dream that I have feels good with where I'm at right now and where I want to go. Yeah. That's all it comes down to. If you try manifesting something and it just doesn't inspire you or inspire good feelings and good emotions, it's not going to come about because the feeling's not there.
Yeah,
you're not believing in yourself truly for it to come true.
¿Mande?
You're not believing in yourself truly para que de verdad like pase lo que tiene que pasar.
Exactly. So yo soy una persona that I manifest really big things, like big events. Like I'm able to do that because I can. Well, but pregúntame if I can manifest something small with a lot of details. I have trouble.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that I manifested like to the T was my black Jeep. But I couldn't be like, the interior is going to look like this. That's too much detail for me. Pero, I manifested a lot of events to this point, and todos se han hecho y se han cumplido. So it gets to the point where I'm like, I know where it's going, right? Like my manifestation shows me the vision, the big event. So now on a daily basis, I literally step out my house and I'm going to see how the universe gets me to that manifestation. And so the more I am in a good feeling place, the more I'm having fun, the more I'm playing, the more I'm like just enjoying life. Me están llegando las señas, and then I'm like, holy shit, I see it. It's coming because esto se está desenvolviendo de esta manera, and now I see where it's headed. Like now I see the connection and how that's going to happen.
Like,
you know?
the signs are there that the universe is telling you, like, Gabby, esto es lo que es.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then it comes down to following your intuition. Cuando tú estás bien conectada contigo misma o con Dios, however you want to interpret that. Porque yo siempre le digo a mi mamá, es que yo tengo fe, ma. She's like, pues tú pendeja ni vas a misa. So my mom's understanding of faith, and this is where sociology helps me a lot, because I used to have a lot of trouble with my mom and like the way that she sees faith versus how I see it. She sees it as like a checklist.
Yeah.
I need to go to church. I need to go confess. I need to go do this. I need to go do that. And then I might have a chance to go to heaven, right? I don't see it like that. I have a very different understanding of faith and spirituality and your connection with God. So to me, it's like whatever feels good to me that comes into my imagination. And if it feels good, that means I'm aligned with it. I'm in tune with, I'm connected to God. And this is why I'm taking this next step. Right? So whenever I have an idea or a source of inspiration, if it feels good, I follow it. Como si me llega la idea de que I should go for a walk. And me llega like subtly, and then I'm like, oh shit, I just realized that I had that thought, I should go for a walk. And then I'll go for the walk, and then in the walk, I'll see something that I'm like, oh, that's why I was supposed to come on a walk. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
And
know what you're saying, yeah. Like you had to be at the time. Like the uniform was like, you had to see this, Gabby, so I put you there.
Yeah, and whether it's like a car passing by with a certain like license plate or a sign, I don't know. You just never know. And so the impulse comes subtly. You have to be paying attention, right? Or sometimes you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to Target or whatever, and then you go to Target, you're like, ¿a qué vine? Like,
a mí me pasa eso mucho, Gabby. Usually when I have my husband's card on my purse.
You're like, I'm getting an impulse to go to Target. No, es que así es. And I tell people, like, ustedes, like, oh, like, you're supposed to write down things 15 times. And I don't, like, they want to have, like, a formula, right, for manifesting. And then ultimately it comes down to feeling. And so that's why I tell people, like, don't do things that don't make you happy because you're trying to make more money, for example.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going to chase the bag. I'm going to secure the bag. But you're introducing resistance to whatever you do. Y si no te gusta lo que estás haciendo, te vas a bloquear tú misma.
Yeah.
Even if it's giving you a steady paycheck de thousands of dollars, but if you're not happy, you're going to self-sabotage. Whereas if you're doing something and having fun and not worried about the money will be a side effect.
Yeah.
And it's going to come because you're happy and you're feeling good, you know?
Las bendiciones vienen solas.
Before we close up, I do want to talk about two more things that like basically got my attention. I want to talk about your postre business. Tell me how that came about. From social worker to empresaria. A ver, dinos.
Right. I know. That was my, like, big girl transition. That was like, all right, you talk the talk, time to walk the walk. And I started with, I mean, I've always wanted my own business. I just didn't know what. Pero siempre he sido buena para tragar y me encanta lo dulce. And I love coffee. So I knew it had to be, like, sweets and coffee for sure. And then my sister, she was more of, like, the food items. Pero empezamos así nomás ideando. La neta, I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we had a cafe like that? That'd be cool. And then I traveled to Paris with my husband. And we went to London for one day, and we saw the cafes out there, and I was like, oh, my God, this would be so cool in LA. Pero yo nunca me imaginé que yo iba a hacer eso. And I come back, and we're still, you know, sending each other inspiration, me and my sister, and we're like, oh, this is such a cute idea. Look at the decor. Look at the dessert. Así nomás dreaming, you know? And I drove by the location that we have now. It used to be an optometrist, so like an oculista, an eye doctor. And it said for leave. And it's a corner location. It has big windows. I'm like, oh my God, that would be such a cute place for a cafe. But a girl had $200 in her bank account for that business dream. You know what I mean? Like, how the hell was that going to happen?
Yeah.
And my little sister, being the youngest child, asked my dad, because my dad got laid off from where he was working at. It was a paint company. Y yo nomás fui ese día, to be the family therapist and make sure he was fine. So this bitch, she goes, Dad, well, why don't you let us borrow the money? You were gonna go and invest in the real estate anyway. And I'm like, Celeste, you can't just ask people for money. What the fuck? Like, I would never. Yeah. I could never, because, daddy issues or whatever. But esta vez con toda la confianza del mundo le dijo, and my dad was just like, well, why don't you go find out and let me know? And I was like, are you serious?
Wow.
Pero, o sea, de mi propio dinero yo invertí $25,000.
Okay.
And this came from public speaking.
Oh, wow.
So all the public speaking I was doing prior to opening posters is what helped me set my cash aside. And so it was $25,000 investment from me, and then it was a loan from my dad for about $80,000.
Okay.
Y luego el dueño del edificio tuvo que invertir también. So en total el proyecto salió como en $140,000.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Pero now my sister went back to nursing full time, so we had to restructure the business. My dad's now my business partner.
Okay.
And it's interesting because, like I said, I went from being his biggest disappointment to now his business partner, and it's been a wild ride because, if my dad and I had not healed our relationship first, we wouldn't be able to be business partners today. And that's something that I talk about, on TikTok and because people ask me all the time, like, oh, pues sí, pues cuando trabajas con la familia, but like, oh, I can never work with my parents. I can never work with whatever, because we come from trauma, a lot of us.
Yeah.
And so I talk about healing as an opportunity to grow, not only like spiritually, but also financially, porque la gente se pone a decir like, oh no, like con la familia no puedes, so you should never. And I'm like, look at the biggest companies in the world today, they're all families.
Yeah.
We're just socialized differently to think that we can't trust each other and things like that. Me pasa si están los abogados, hombre.
Todo está en
You're
papel.
gonna fight anyway. You're gonna fight anyway. Might as well get a tax write-off.
We come from a family business too. We're taco girls.
We're taco girls.
Yeah, our parents had a taqueria for how many years?
For
nice. Congratulations.
Over 30 years.
Thank you. They just retired, so we're retired too.
Yeah, they retired us. We retired taco girls now.
Pero eran desmadres, so I get what you're saying, working with your dad. It's not always just rainbows and butterflies.
No, it's not rainbows and butterflies. And sometimes las ollas vuelan, and it's like, where did that come
Los
from?
putazos, las palabras, todo.
Yeah, and it's hard because it is our dad, so we couldn't just be like, oh, like, here's my 2 weeks notice. Like, my dad would rip that up and be like, ponte el mandil y ponte a trabajar porque la gente viene.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys, we would have another podcast so that you guys can tell me about your experience, because that would be amazing to from you guys.
Yeah, girl.
Yeah, I mean,
talk about trauma.
Yeah, but there has to be boundaries, and it's hard because parents have a hard time just respecting you as an individual. They will always see you like their child.
Yeah.
So that's been an interesting thing to navigate, especially with my dad.
Yeah.
Gabby, just thank you for sharing all that. Just to close off, what would you tell young Gabby now that you are a badass bitch right now, girl?
Oh my God. I would tell her that her wildest dreams are going to come true, and that everything that she's going to experience is going to prepare her for it, and not to be afraid, to pursue those, because thankfully, she ends up remaining a kind person, even though life wasn't always easy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats on all that.
Thank you, girls. It's been a pleasure being with you. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I'm really humbled by your words, and I hope that, we continue to root for each other on our journey.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're going to list all your social media down below, and hopefully you get a lot of Chingonas talk about it. New subscribers and
From Chicago.
Yeah, from Chicago. So hopefully one day cuando te vengas a dar la vuelta acá a Chicago
Hit us up, girl.
to promote your next dream or your next book or lo que sea, aquí tienes tu casa.
Thank you so much, girl. Dios me las bendiga. Un abrazo y al rato las miro desde allá de Zacatecas. Les mando
Woo! Girl, you better post, girl, because
Yes.
I'm going to be like, yes, Gabby, living your best life.
Enjoy your trip.
Yeah,
Thank you so
Gabby,
much.
so much for, girl, opening up my DM. I was like, oh my God, girl, si me va a responder para atrás o no.
Nah, todo pasa por algo y pues igual, gracias a ustedes for reaching out and I appreciate the support. I really do.
Thank you so much. Take care. Have a
Thank
great
you,
night.
Gabby.
You too. Get some rest. Have
Bye-bye.
a good weekend.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you too. Bye-bye.
Thanks, bye. Guys, so that was our interview with Gabby. Oh my God.
Yeah. We're gonna list all her social media down below.
Yes.
And-
I wanted to talk about more things, but I know like everyone's
she's
busy and stuff.
yeah, she's a busy mom. So we're so grateful that she already shared a lot of time with us. So make sure to check her out. She's always coming up on my TikTok, for sure. Instagram, I just followed her, so make sure that you guys check it out. And if we have any listeners that have been to her business, make sure to comment down below as well.
I am just like a fangirl right now. I literally DM somebody and I'm just like, they're gonna respond, and I'm like, I was so excited. I was like, thank you guys so much for the love and the support. I'm very excited to have you guys check this episode out. And de Chicago, LA, so woo, I'm so excited. Until next time, bye.
Bye.